The wheels come away red. She does not look down. The street will carry the stain in its name for as long as Rome stands. 535 BC. A street in Rome. Tullia drives her chariot over her father's body. This is Roman nights. We go back. We listen. We stay a while. 80 years before that. A woman sits in a cart on the road south. She is watching the sky for birds. She has just seen one. A woman watching the birds. A different woman sits in a cart on the road south. She is watching the sky for birds. She has just seen one. She has not told her husband yet. The cart goes south through Etruria. It is loaded with a whole life. Cloth, plate, the household gods wrapped in wool. A man and a woman who are leaving the only home they have known. The woman is named Tanaquil. She is highborn. Her family is old in Tarquinii, old as anyone. She married down a little and she knew it and she did it anyway. She married a man named Lucumo. Clever, rich, ambitious. A man with everything but the one thing the city would not give him. His blood was wrong. His father came from across the sea. A Greek from Corinth. A man who fled his own city. He made a fortune in Etruria and married an Etruscan wife. So Lucumo was born rich and able and half a foreigner. In Tarquinii, that foreign half was the only half that counted. Tanaquil watched it happen for years. She watched men of less wit and less money climb past her husband. She watched the doors of the city stay shut to him. Not loudly. No one threw him out. They simply never let him in. A closed door does not have to slam. It only has to stay closed. She is a practical woman. She does not weep about the door. She studies it. And one day she tells her husband what she has decided. They will leave. Not to a smaller place. To a bigger one. There is a city to the south, young and rough and growing fast. A city that takes men in. It was founded by a fugitive and filled with fugitives. It does not ask whose grandfather you were. It asks what you can do. The city is called Rome. In Tarquinii, she tells him, your blood is a wall. In Rome, there are no walls like that yet. The place is too new to have built them. A new city is hungry. A hungry city does not check a rich man's father. It checks his purse and his nerve, and you have both. Lucumo listens. He has learned to listen to her. That is the smartest thing he has ever done. So they sell what they cannot carry. They pack the rest. They take the household gods down off the shelf and wrap them and lay them in the cart. And they go. Here is a thing worth knowing about Tanaquil before the road. She can read the sky. It is an Etruscan art, older than Rome, older than most things. The Etruscans watch birds. They watch lightning. They watch the livers of sacrificed animals and the way smoke leans off an altar. They believe the gods write the future across the world. 100 small hands. A trained eye can read the writing. Tanaquil has the trained eye. In her family, the women have always had it. She has read the sky since she was a girl. She does not talk about it much. A gift you talk about too freely stops being a gift and becomes a trick. She keeps it close. She uses it quietly, but she trusts it the way other people trust their own hands. The road south is long. The country changes as they go. The hills soften. The light changes. Somewhere past the river the air starts to smell different. Of marsh and wood smoke. The particular damp of a place built low among 7 hills. They come at last to the high ground across the river from the city. The Romans call it the Janiculum. From the top a traveler gets the first full sight of Rome. It is spread out below across the water. Smoke rising from 1,000 low roofs. The cart stops on the height. Lucumo stands to look at the city he has gambled everything to reach. Then it happens. A shadow crosses them, fast. A great bird drops out of the high air. An eagle comes down on Lucumo with its wings wide. Before he can move, it takes the cap from his head. The soft Etruscan cap he wears. It lifts the cap up into the air, clean off him, and rises with it, circling. Lucumo stands bareheaded, startled, his hand going up too late to a head that has nothing on it. The eagle climbs. It circles once, high over the cart, the cap held in its feet. The whole sky seems to pause around it. Then it stoops again, comes back down, and it sets the cap back on his head, exactly where it was, as if a careful hand had lifted it, considered it, and chosen to return it. The eagle beats up into the blue and is gone. For a moment no one speaks. Lucumo touches the cap on his head as if to check it is real. A servant makes a small frightened sound. Tanaquil does not make a sound. She is already reading it. This is the writing she has trained her whole life to read. It has just been written across the open sky in front of her, in a hand so large that even the servants saw it. She gets down from the cart. She comes to her husband. She takes his face in her hands. It is not a thing she often does. She makes him look at her. She tells him what she has seen. A bird from the highest part of the sky, she says, from the quarter where the greatest signs come, came to the head of all the places on a man. It took the crown of him and lifted it toward heaven and carried it before the gods. Then it brought it back down and set it where it belongs. The gods, she says, have just shown her a man who will be lifted up, lifted as high as a man can go, then given his honor back to where, in the sight of the whole world. She does not use the word at first. She makes him arrive at it himself. Then she uses it. King, she says, you will be a king. Lucumo is a clever man and a practical one, and he does not believe in much. But he believes in his wife. He has watched her be right too many times, and he has just stood bareheaded under an open sky. He feels a bird lift the cap off his head. His own scalp goes cold. He feels it set the cap back down. There is no ordinary way to explain a thing like that. He believes her. They go down off the Geniculum toward the river and the city beyond it. He rides the rest of the way as a different man from the one who climbed the hill. Not richer, not stronger, only certain in a way he has never been before. The place he is going to is the place he is meant to end up on top of. Tanaquil rides beside him and says nothing more about it. She has read the sky and the sky has answered, and she is content. She does not need to keep talking. A thing you have understood does not need to be said twice. But there is a part of the reading she keeps to herself. There always is, with her. The sky showed her a man lifted up and given his honor back. It showed her the height. It did not show her how a man comes down from a height like that. It did not show her the after. Signs are like that. They give you the rising. They are quiet about the fall. She files the quiet part away, the way she files everything, and rides on toward the smoke. They will change his name when they reach the city. Lucumo is an Etruscan name, and Rome does not love Etruscan names. He will take a Roman one. He will become Lucius Tarquinius. Later they will add another word to it, to tell him apart from the ones who come after. The word will mean the elder, the old one, the first. There will be others of his name. That is the part no one on the road can see. A whole line of them coming down out of this one cart on this one hill. Kings and almost kings. A name that will end in fire and exile, and a word the Romans will spit for 500 years. But that is far ahead. On the road, there is only a man with a cap newly strange on his head. A woman beside him who reads birds. A city of low roofs waiting in the smoke below. She watches the sky the rest of the way down. Old habit. She cannot help it. She is looking for the next thing the gods might say. The gods, for now, say nothing more. The sky over Rome is empty and gray and ordinary. Just weather. Just a city getting closer. She keeps watching anyway. 2. A foreigner's patience. Rome takes him in. That is the whole gamble, and Rome pays out on it at once. The city does not ask about his father. It does not ask which side of the sea his blood came from. It looks at a rich man with good manners and an open hand, and it makes room. He spends well. That is the first thing the city notices. He gives to the right men and the right festivals. He lends to the men who need it and forgives the loans at the right moment. He is generous in the way that buys things. Every coin he spends comes back to him as a friend. He is also good company. He listens. He remembers a man's children's names. He never seems to be climbing, which is the surest sign of a man who is climbing very hard indeed. Within a few years, no one in Rome thinks of him as a foreigner. They think of him as Lucius Tarquinius, a great man of the city, one of their own. The king in those days is named Ancus Marcius. He is the 4th king of Rome. He is a grandson of Numa, the peaceful one, and he has some of Numa in him. He builds. He fortifies. He pushes Rome down to the sea and founds a port at the river's mouth. He bridges the river. He is a careful, decent king, and the city does well under him. Tarquinius makes himself useful to this king. He does it slowly. He does it well. He becomes a man the king sends for, then a man the king trusts, then, in the end, a man the king cannot do without. So when Ancus comes to the end of his life, he does a thing that seems wise at the time. He names Tarquinius the guardian of his 2 sons. The boys are young, too young to rule. The king wants a strong hand to protect them and raise them until they are men. He looks around the city for the steadiest, ablest, most loyal man he knows. He chooses the foreigner. He chooses Tarquinius. It is the last mistake he makes. A guardian of the king's sons is the closest thing to a king there is. While the sons are still boys, he holds the household. He holds the trust. He stands between the children and the throne. A man who stands between a child and a throne is in an interesting place. If he is the wrong kind of man, Tarquinius is exactly the wrong kind of man. Patient, charming, certain, since a bird lifted his cap on a hill, that the throne is his by right of heaven. Ancus dies. Now Rome must choose. The kingship is not a thing a son simply inherits, not in these early days. The people choose. The Senate guides the choice. But the people, in the end, raise their hands and make a king. The sons of Ancus are young, but they are the sons of the king. By blood, by the city's affection, by the plain feeling that a dead king's boys ought to come first. They have a claim. If the city votes today, it might well give the throne to one of the boys. They are standing right there in their grief. Tarquinius does not let the city vote today. He waits for the moment of the funeral. The whole city is busy with the dead king, and he goes to the 2 boys, the boys he is sworn to protect. He suggests kindly, as a guardian would, that they go away for a while. A hunt, good clean country air, far from the grief and the crowds. It will do them good. He arranges it. He sees them off himself, with every appearance of a man doing right by the children in his care. He sends the heirs out of the city. Then he turns to the people. This is the part that has never been done before. No one has ever stood up in Rome and openly asked for the kingship. The thing was offered. The thing was found in the sky, or pressed on a reluctant man in his garden. It was not wanted out loud. Wanting it out loud was almost shameful. Tarquinius wants it out loud. He goes among the people. He canvasses for the throne, the way a later Roman will canvass for an office. He speaks. He reminds them of all he has done for the city, the festivals, the loans forgiven, the years of service to the dead king. He reminds them gently that the sons of Ancus are only boys, away on a hunt, not ready for the weight of a city, and he turns his own foreignness inside out. He does not hide that he came from elsewhere. He uses it. He tells them he is not the first. Rome itself was built by men who came from elsewhere. Romulus took in the fugitive and the landless and made them Romans. Tatius the Sabine ruled beside Romulus. Numa came from Cures, a stranger, and gave Rome its gods. To be a Roman, he says, has never meant to be born one. It has meant to choose Rome and to serve it and to be chosen back. I chose Rome, he tells them. I have served it longer than those boys have been alive. Choose me back. It is a good speech. It is better than good. It is the first piece of real political art Rome has heard. The city is not ready for it. It works. They raise their hands. They make him king. Lucius Tarquinius, the 5th king of Rome. A man whose grandfather sold goods out of Corinth. A man a bird crowned on a hill across the river. He has done it. He has talked a city into the thing the sky promised him. The rightful heirs were away in the woods, chasing deer. The sons of Ancus come back from the hunt to find the throne taken. By their own guardian. By the man their father trusted with their lives. They do not forget it. That is the seed. Plant it now and remember where it is. 2 boys, robbed by the man who was supposed to protect them, swallowing it, growing up around it the way a tree grows around a nail. They will wait. Men who have been robbed young are patient in a way that should frighten the men who robbed them. The man who took the throne was patient too. They learned it from him, but that is years off. For now there is a new king on the throne, a wife beside him who reads the sky, and the part of the story that no one in Rome can see yet. The night before they raise him up, Tarquinius cannot sleep. He goes out into the courtyard alone. The Roman sky is over him. The same gray ordinary sky. It has been over him every night since the hill. He looks up at it. He is looking for the bird. Some part of him still half expects it. Every clear night, the wide wings, the cap lifted off his head, the slow circle against the blue. There is no bird. There is only the dark, the city breathing around him, his wife asleep inside, with the household gods on their shelf. He goes back in. In the morning they make him king. The sky says nothing at all. It is its own kind of answer. If a man knows how to read it, his wife knows how to read it. She does not tell him what it means. 3. What the builder leaves. A new king has to do 2 things. He has to win a war. He has to leave something behind that the city can touch. Tarquinius does both. He is good at both. He is, it turns out, a very good king. It is the part that makes the rest of the story hard. He goes to war first. A king must. The Latins test him. The Sabines test him. They always test a new king the way men test a new lock. He holds. More than holds. He wins, and he wins well, and the spoils come back to Rome in long wagons. He does not keep the spoils. That is the smart part. He spends them on the city. A king who keeps the spoils is rich. A king who spends them on the city is loved. A loved king is a king who dies in his bed. Tarquinius means to die in his bed. So he builds. Look at what he leaves behind. It is still there, some of it under the later stone if you know where to look. He drains the valley. This is the great one, the one no one sees because you only see it when it is not there. The low ground between the hills is a marsh. It floods. It stinks in summer. It is the kind of ground that breeds fever. It swallows the foundations of anything you build on it. Rome has lived around it for 200 years because no one knew what else to do with it. Tarquinius drains it. He cuts a great channel down through the valley to the river. A drain, the biggest thing Rome has ever dug. Men go down into the wet earth and dig, season after season. Slowly the water finds the channel, and the channel finds the river, and the marsh begins to dry. The drained ground becomes the Forum, the heart of Rome, the place where, for the next 1,000 years, the city will argue and trade, where it will try its criminals, where it will bury its great men, all of it standing on ground that one Etruscan king taught to be dry. The drain itself runs on under the city, dark, for centuries. Long after the king is forgotten, the water still runs where he sent it. That is a thing about builders. The name wears off the work. The work stays. He marks out the circus, the long valley between two of the hills. He levels it. He gives the families their places along it. And he holds games there, great ones with horses and boxers brought from Etruria. The city comes out to watch in a way it has never come out before. The Romans love it. Of course they love it. A city at war all the time forgets how to play. Tarquinius reminds them. He gives them a day in the sun, a thing to shout about that no one dies in. A people will forgive a king almost anything if he gives them good games. Tarquinius knows this. It is one of the oldest pieces of knowledge there is, and he has it. He lays the foundations on the high rock, the Capitoline, the hill above the Forum. He clears the top of it and he lays the foundations of a temple. Not just any temple, the great one, the house of Jupiter, the best and greatest, the god above the gods. He does not live to finish it. The foundations are enough. The thing he starts on that rock will stand at the center of the Roman world. For as long as there is a Roman world, triumphs will end there. Consuls will swear their oaths there. The whole sprawling empire that is coming will treat that one hilltop as its center. An empire no one can imagine yet. He starts it. An Etruscan, a grandson of a Corinthian. The most Roman place in Rome was begun by a foreigner. His blood the old city up north would not have let into a magistrate's chair. There is a kind of joke in that, and the city never quite gets it. He brings the trappings of kingship down from Etruria. This is the quiet one, and in a way it outlasts all the building. He gives the kingship its look. The chair of ivory and curved legs that a ruler sits in to give judgment. The robe with the purple border. The bundle of rods, bound around an axe, carried before him by attendants, to show that here comes a man who can scourge, a man who can kill. The fasces, these are Etruscan things. Tarquinius brings them to Rome and they never leave. Long after the kings are gone, Rome will throw out the very idea of a king. It will swear never to have another, and still its highest men will sit in that chair. Still wear that purple border. Still walk behind that bundle of rods and that axe. Rome will hate the name of king and keep every single thing that made a king look like a king. That too is a kind of joke. The city does not get that one either. And he doubles the Senate. This is the one that costs him. The Senate is the old council, the fathers of the city, the heads of the oldest families. Romulus made it. It has been a closed circle of old blood ever since. Tarquinius opens it. He brings in 100 new men, heads of families that were not in the circle before. He makes them senators too. The old families do not like it. They smile and they do not like it. Their circle has been their circle for 200 years. Now there are strangers in it, lesser men. Men the king raised because he wanted men who owed him. The old fathers say nothing out loud, but they remember. Rome is a city that remembers. Everyone in it is keeping a list. So the reign goes on, long successful, loud with works, and in the quiet behind it, all the while, 2 men are keeping their own list. Theirs is the oldest and the worst. The sons of Ancus. They are not boys now. They have grown up watching the man who robbed them rule the city that should have been theirs. They have watched him drain the marsh, lay the foundations, double the Senate, and they have had to stand in the crowd and cheer like everyone else. A man can live with being robbed once. What he cannot live with is watching the thief enjoy it for 30 years. The wound does not heal. It deepens every season, every new triumph, every game in the circus where they have to clap. The longer Tarquinius reigns, the worse it gets, because every good year is another year that should have been theirs. And now they begin to do the arithmetic that frightened men do. The king is old. The king will die. And when he dies, who takes the throne? Not them. They can see that clearly. The king has sons of his own coming up. And there is something else, something stranger, that has been growing in the king's own house. A young man, raised there, favored beyond all the others. A young man the king and the queen treat almost like a son, though everyone knows where he came from, and where he came from is the bottom. The sons of Ancus look at that young man and they understand. The throne is not going to come back to them by waiting. It is not going to come to them at all. The old thief is going to hand it on, to his own line, or to that strange favored boy from the bottom of the house. The sons of the true king will have nothing, forever. That is the thought that turns waiting into doing. You can watch it happen if you know where to look. The years of patience reach their end. The patience curdles. And two men who have been quiet for 30 years begin, very quietly, to stop being quiet. They will not challenge him in the open. They cannot. He is too strong, too loved, too well guarded. So they will do the other thing, the old thing, the thing that does not need an army or a vote. It needs only two men willing to do it, and a moment and a blade. But before the blade, the story has to go back inside the king's own house. To the boy from the bottom, to the strange favored one the sons of Ancus have just decided to hate. Because there is a reason the king and the queen favor him. There is a reason Tanaquil watches that particular boy. She who reads the sky. She watches him the way she once watched an eagle over a hill. She saw something around his head, once, while he slept, and she has been waiting, ever since, to find out what it meant. For the flame. There is a boy in the king's house who should not matter. He is the son of a servant. His mother came to Rome the wrong way. She came as a prize. There was a town once, a small one, that Rome took in one of the king's early wars. The men of it died. The women of it were brought back. One of those women was highborn in her own small place. A noblewoman before the war made her a captive. She came into the royal house and she served there, and she had a son. The son was born inside the walls of the king of Rome. He had the status of his mother, which was nothing. His name is Servius. The name itself carries the mark of it. Comes from the word for a servant. A boy named for the bottom. By every rule that Rome lives by, this boy is no one. He will grow up in the house. He will serve in it. He will die in it, old, having mattered to no one but the people who shared the kitchen with him. That is what should happen. It is not what happens. What happens is the fire. It is an ordinary afternoon. The boy is small, still a child. He has fallen asleep where children fall asleep. Somewhere he should not be. In the heat of the day. In a corner of the great house. No one is watching him. Why would they watch him? He is no one. Someone passes the corner. Someone glances down at the sleeping child. And stops. There is a light around the boy's head. Not near him. Around him. Around the head itself. A soft moving light, the color of flame. Playing over his hair. Licking up from the crown of him the way fire moves over wood. It does not seem to burn him. He sleeps on. His chest rises and falls. The flame moves over his sleeping head and does not wake him and does not blacken a single hair. The person who saw it makes a sound. Then there is shouting. Then there are people running the way people run when they see fire in a house. Someone calls for water. Of course they call for water. A child is on fire in the corner of the king's house. The only thought a sane person has is to put it out. They are bringing the water when Tanaquil comes. She comes the way she always comes, without hurry. She has heard the shouting and she has come to see. When she sees, she does the one thing no one else in the house would have thought to do. She tells them to stop. She puts herself between the boy and the water. She does not raise her voice. She rarely does. But there is something in the way she stands over the sleeping child. It stops the whole running house in its tracks. Put down the water, she says. Do not wake him. Do not touch him. Leave the boy alone. They look at her as though she has lost her mind. There is a child on fire. Every instinct in the room is screaming the same thing. And the queen is standing over him with her hand up, telling them to let it burn. She is not mad. She is reading. This is the third time the gods have written something where Tanaquil could see it. The closed door in Tarquinii, which she read and acted on. The eagle on the hill, which she read and named. And now this, a flame that crowns a sleeping child and does not consume him. She has spent her whole life waiting to be shown things like this. She knows, the moment she sees it, that this is one of the great ones. Fire that crowns the head and does not burn. There is only one thing that can mean. It means the boy is lit from inside by something that is not ordinary. It means the gods have set a mark on him that anyone with eyes can see. It means this boy from the bottom of the house is going to rise to the very top. This servant's son, this no one, that the rising has already been decided, somewhere above the roof, by hands larger than any king's. So she lets it burn. She makes them all stand and watch a thing that frightens them. She will not let them put it out, because to put it out would be to argue with the gods. Tanaquil does not argue with the gods. She reads them. She obeys them. She lets the fire do whatever the fire has come to do. It does not last. These things never do. The boy stirs in his sleep. He turns. And as he wakes, slowly, the way a child wakes, the flame thins and fades and is gone. He sits up, rubbing his eyes in a corner of the great house. An ordinary small boy. He has no idea the whole household is standing around him, pale and silent. No idea that the Queen of Rome is looking at him, as though she has just seen the future open like a door. He does not understand any of it. He is a child. He wants to know why everyone is looking at him. No one tells him. Not for a long time. From that afternoon, everything about the boy changes. Tanaquil takes him up. She does not say why, not at first, not to the household. But the servant's son is not a servant's son anymore. He is moved out of the kitchen, into the part of the house where the king's own children are raised. He is given teachers. He is given the things a noble boy is given. He learns to read and to ride and to speak well, to carry himself like someone, because the queen has decided he is someone. The king does not object. The king has learned, over a long marriage, not to object to his wife's readings of the sky. She read him a kingship once, and she was right. If she says this boy is marked, the king will not be the one to argue. Not with her. Not about the sky. He lets her raise the servant's son as a prince. The household watches and says nothing and keeps its private list, because that is what households do. And when the boy is grown, Tanaquil does the last thing. The thing that makes it permanent. She marries him to one of her own daughters. A servant's son marries a daughter of the royal house. It should be impossible. It is, by every rule, a scandal. But the king and the queen arrange it, and the king and the queen are the king and the queen. So it is done. The boy from the bottom is now the king's son-in-law. Royal grandchildren coming. Woven into the line as tightly as a man can be woven. He grows into a good man. That is the thing that will matter later. Servius is able. He is steady. He is kind in the way that strong people are sometimes kind without making a show of it. He becomes, as he comes into his strength, the most useful man in the kingdom, the one the old king leans on. More and more, as the years take their weight, people love him, even the ones who remember where he came from, maybe especially them. There is something in a man who has come up from the bottom. The people at the bottom recognize it. They trust it. He is one of theirs who got out. He carries it well. He does not forget it. But there is a thing under all of it. A thing only Servius truly carries, and only later, when he understands what was built around him. His whole rise rests on a reading, on a woman who saw fire around a sleeping head and decided what it meant. The eagle made one king. The flame is making another. Two kings, both lifted by the same pair of eyes that know how to look at the sky. A man whose crown rests on an omen rests on something thinner, on someone else's word for what the gods wanted. And a word can be doubted. A word can be denied. There will come a day far off. Men will stand in front of Servius Tullius. They will say he is nothing but a slave woman's son, lifted by a woman's story, never properly made a king at all. They will be lying about the worst of it, but they will not be entirely wrong about the shape. That day is a long way off. For now there is only a good man rising, and a queen who reads the sky. An old king leaning harder every year on the servant's son the gods set on fire. The fire is out. It has been out for years. It did exactly what Tarquinius said it would. 5. The two shepherds, the sons of Ancus, have made up their minds. Took them 30 years. That is the thing to hold on to. This is not hot blood. This is the coldest thing there is. A wound carried so long that it has stopped hurting and started planning. They cannot fight the king. They have been over this 1,000 times. He is too strong. He is too loved. The army is his. The Senate is half full of men he raised. If they stand up in the open and say the throne is theirs, the city will laugh. Then the city will kill them. So it has to be the other way, the quiet way, the way that needs no army and no vote. It needs two men willing to do an unforgivable thing. A moment when the king is close enough to reach. They tell themselves it is not murder. That is the part worth watching because it is the part that is in all of us. They have a word for what they are doing, and the word is not the true one. The true word is murder. The word they use is justice. They are not killing a king. They are taking back what was stolen from them. The throne was theirs. The thief has sat on it for 30 years. To strike him down is only to set right a thing that was always wrong. A man can carry almost any act if he gives it the right name first. They give it the right name. Then they go and do the thing the name was invented to cover. The plan is clever. It has to be. You cannot walk up to a guarded king with a blade. They find two shepherds. Rough men, countrymen, the kind no one looks at twice. They pay them or promise them or frighten them in the way the powerful arrange these things. And they school them in a small piece of theater. The two shepherds will go to the king. They will pretend to be in the middle of a furious quarrel. A real one, the kind that ends in blood, the kind a king is supposed to settle. They will make a great noise about it. In the open, in front of the palace. Loud enough that the king's men come to see. And they will demand the king himself. Only the king can judge between us, they will cry. Only the king. It works because it is so ordinary. A king's whole day is full of this. Two men with a grievance, shouting, each sure he is in the right, each wanting the king to say so. It is the most normal thing in the world. There is nothing in it to fear. That is exactly why it is dangerous. It is an ordinary morning. That is the thing. The king wakes in his own house. He is old. His joints are stiff. He has ruled the city for most of a long life. He expects this day to be like the 10,000 days before it. There will be petitions. There will be dull quarrels to settle. There will be the slow business of being a king, which is mostly listening to people who want something. He does not feel the day coming. Why would he? No one ever feels it coming. The worst mornings of our lives arrive wearing the clothes of every other morning. There is no sign on them. The light is the same. The bread is the same. The sky over the palace says nothing. The way it said nothing the night they made him king. The way it will say nothing the day his grandson is thrown down the steps. Out in the street, the two shepherds are already waiting, already rehearsing their quarrel in low voices, already deciding which of them will speak and hold the king's eye, and which will stand a little back, with the axe, and wait. They are nervous. Killers usually are the first time, but they have been paid or frightened into it. They are committed now. The king is going to come out and listen to them, because that is what a good king does. The trap is set inside the most ordinary thing in the world. Two angry men wanting justice. The king will walk straight into it on his own 2 feet, glad to be useful. He will never once suspect, because there is nothing to suspect. That is the whole horror of it. It looks exactly like the work he has done every day for 40 years. The day comes. The two shepherds arrive at the palace, already shouting, already at each other's throats. They make their scene. They make it well. The noise brings the king's men, and the king's men bring the matter to the king. The king does what a good king does. He agrees to hear it. He has them brought before him. Tarquinius is an old man now. He has ruled a long time. He has heard 10,000 quarrels like this one. He sits to judge it the way he has sat to judge 1,000 others. With the patience of a man who has done this all his life. He tells the first shepherd to speak. And here is the trap. It is a beautiful one, in the cold way that the worst things can be beautiful. The first shepherd begins to plead his case. He is loud. He is urgent. He leans in. He pours out his complaint, fast, insistent, and he draws the king's whole attention onto himself. The king turns toward the speaker. He listens. He bends his mind to the man's words, the way a judge must, the way a fair king must, giving the man the full weight of his ear. His whole attention is on the one shepherd, which means his whole attention is not on the other. The second shepherd has been standing a little behind, quiet now, waiting. He has, under his cloak or in his hand, a thing a shepherd always has, an axe, a billhook, the plain heavy tool a countryman carries to cut wood and clear brush. No one fears a shepherd's axe. It is not a weapon. It is just a tool. That is why no one took it from him. While the king leans toward the first man, listening, the second man lifts the axe. He brings it down on the king's head. It is the oldest sound there is and the worst. A man who has heard it once never forgets it. Not a clang, not a ring, a dull, wet, final sound. The sound of a tool meant for wood used on a man. The king goes down. He does not make a speech. The dying do not make speeches, whatever the songs say. He goes down the way a struck thing goes down. All at once. The long rain, the drained marsh, the foundations on the rock, the eagle on the hill, all of it collapsing into an old man falling sideways out of a chair. The two shepherds run. That is the plan. Strike and run, into the noise, into the crowd, gone before anyone understands what they have just seen. For a moment it works. There is the king on the ground and the blood and the shouting. In the shouting, two rough men bolt for the gate. They do not get far. The king's men are slow to understand and fast to move once they do. The shepherds are caught at the edge of the crowd, dragged down, held. They will be put to the question, and they will give up the names behind them. Because men always do, and the names will be the sons of Ancus. But the sons of Ancus are already gone. They did not stay to watch. The clever ones never do. The moment the axe came down, they were already moving, already on the road out of the city, already running for the exile that will be the rest of their lives. They wanted the throne. They will spend the rest of their days in some other town, in some other man's city, listening for news from Rome. The news will never once be the news they wanted. They got their revenge. They struck down the man who robbed them, and it bought them nothing at all. That is the part they did not plan for. A man so fixed on the thing he hates, he forgets to plan for the morning after he destroys it. The throne is empty again. The old king is on the floor of his own house, dying. The great works of 30 years very far away now. The city is in the street, roaring, leaderless, the way a city roars when its king goes down without warning. And in all of Rome, one person is not roaring, not running. One person is doing the cold, useful thing the moment requires. It is a woman. She is upstairs. She has heard the noise. She knows already, the way she always knows, what it means. Her husband is dying. The eagle's man, the cap, the hill, the long rain, all of it ending on the floor below her, in a spreading dark stain. She does not scream. She does not run down. She has perhaps 1 hour, maybe less, before the city below decides who rules it next. She does not intend to waste a moment of that hour weeping. Tanaquil goes to the window. 6. The window. The most dangerous hour in a kingdom is the hour after the king dies. Everyone knows it. The throne is empty. The strongest hand takes it. And in that hour, the strongest hand is not always the best one, or the rightful one. It is only the fastest. Whoever moves first, before the city understands what has happened, can have the whole thing. Tanaquil understands this better than anyone alive. She has spent her life reading the moment the gods choose to act. Now the gods have acted terribly on the floor below her. The moment is hers, and she is not going to waste it on grief. She does the cold things first. She has the palace shut, the doors barred. No one comes in, no one goes out, not without her word. She has the king carried out of sight, into the inner rooms. She has his wounds tended as if he were a man who could still be healed. Cloths, water, the motions of care, performed over a man past caring. She is building a story, and the story needs the king to be alive a little longer. So she keeps him alive in the only way left to her, which is the way of appearances. Then she sends for Servius. He comes, the servant's son, the man the flame-crowned. He comes into the inner room. He sees the king he loved, the man who raised him out of the kitchen, lying still on the couch, the dark wound on his head. For a moment he is only a grieving son, which is what he truly is. Tanaquil does not let him stay there long. She takes him by the arm. She makes him look at her, the way she once made her husband look at her on a hill. And she tells him what the moment is. The kingdom is yours, she says, if you have the nerve to take it. Right now. Tonight. She tells him the rest fast, because there is no time. The gods marked you, she says. I saw the fire on your head when you were a child. I told them what it meant. I was right, the way I am always right. The eagle made one king. The fire made another. That king is you. But the gods give a man the chance, and they do not force his hand. They open the door. A man still has to walk through it. The door is open now. It will not stay open. Walk through it. She tells him the danger. If you hesitate, she says, the throne goes to someone faster. To an enemy. To a fool. To one of the men who did this. The city is in the street right now with no one to obey. Whoever they decide to obey by morning, they will obey for a generation. Make it you. Stand up. Take the king's seat. Do the king's work. Act like a king tonight, and by morning you will be one. Because the city believes whatever it sees done with confidence. Servius listens. He is a steady man, not a quick one. He has never reached for a thing in his life that was not handed to him. And now the queen is telling him to reach, in the dark, over the body of the man who made him, for the highest thing there is. Something in him crosses a line in that room. You can feel the exact moment if you imagine it. The grieving son goes quiet, somewhere inside, and a different man stands up in his place. Not a worse man. Servius will be a good king, one of the best Rome ever has. But a man who takes a throne in the dark, over a warm body, is changed. He is not the same man who walked into the room. He cannot be. The crossing changes him. It changes everyone who does it. He just does not know yet what it will cost, only what it is about to buy. He says yes. Not in words, maybe. In the way he straightens. In the way he stops looking at the body and starts looking at the door. Then Tarquinius goes to the window. This is the part the Romans never forget. This is the moment they will tell for 500 years. The palace has an upper window that looks down on the street, on the crowd gathered there in the dark. Frightened, leaderless, roaring for news. They have heard the king is struck. They do not know if he lives. They are doing what crowds do when no one is in charge. It is growing more dangerous by the minute. Tarquinius shows herself at the window. The queen. They know her. The noise drops. And she lies to them. She lies beautifully. She lies the way her husband once spoke to win a throne. The way only a very few people in any generation can lie. With her whole face. With her whole voice. Not a flicker of the truth showing through. The king lives, she tells them. The blow was sudden, but it was not deep. He is shaken. He is resting. He will be among you again soon, on his feet. The king you know. There is no cause for fear. Go home. Keep the peace. And in the meantime, she says, while the king recovers, he has given his orders. He bids you obey Servius. Servius will sit in the king's seat. Servius will hear your cases. He will settle your disputes. He will do the king's work, until the king is well enough to do it himself. This is the king's own wish. Obey it as you would obey him. The crowd believes her. Why would they not? The king is loved. The queen is the queen. She is standing at the window with no grief on her face, telling them the worst is past. A frightened crowd wants nothing in the world so much as to be told the worst is past. She tells them exactly that, and they take it gratefully, the way a drowning man takes a hand, and they go home. Below the window, behind the barred doors, the king is already dead. Has been dead for some time. The woman telling them he will be among them soon is standing over his cooling body to do it. It is a magnificent thing and a monstrous one, and it is both at once. It is the truth about most of the great moments in this story. Now the clock works for her. Servius begins, that very night, to be king in everything but name. He sits in the seat. He gives the judgments. He receives the men who come to the palace. He surrounds himself with the guard, with the trappings, with all the weight of an office. He does it all under a gentle fiction, that he is only standing in for a king getting better in a back room. Day after day, the fiction holds. The king is recovering, they are told. The king is still weak. A little longer, and every day the fiction holds, Servius grows more solid. The city gets used to him in the seat. The men get used to bringing their business to him. The guard gets used to taking his orders. He is becoming the thing he is pretending to be, by the simple act of pretending it long enough, with enough confidence, while a dead man's name covers him. By the time they admit the king is dead, it does not matter anymore. That is the genius of it. When the death is finally acknowledged, There is no empty throne for the city to fight over. The throne is already full. It has a man in it, a man everyone has been obeying for days, a man with the guard, the seat, the habit of command. There is no election. There is no vote. There is no moment of danger for someone else to seize. Servius simply goes on doing what he has already been doing. The only change is that now he does it under his own name. He is the first king of Rome to take the throne this way, not chosen by the people, not raised by their hands in the old manner, installed, occupied, made king by a woman at a window and a corpse kept warm just long enough. And here is the thing the sons of Ancus could never have foreseen, the cruelty at the heart of it. They killed Tarquinius to take the throne back. Their blow did not give them the throne. It gave it to Servius, to the servant's son, to the one man they hated almost as much as the king himself, the strange favored boy from the bottom of the house. They struck the thief down. The throne fell sideways, past them, into the lap of the last man they would have chosen. Their 30 years of patience, their clever shepherds, their billhook, all of it, in the end, was a delivery service for the slave woman's son. Tanaquil steps back from the window. She has done the thing she came down off the hill to do all those years ago, though she could not have known the shape it would take. She read an eagle and made a king. She read a fire and made another. And when the first king fell, she did not read the sky at all. The sky had nothing to say. So she wrote the future herself, in her own words, out a window, to a frightened crowd in the dark. That is the part she will think about later in the quiet. For most of her life she has been a reader, a woman who looks at what the gods have already written and tells people what it says. At the window she stopped reading and started writing. She put words into the world that were not true and made them true by saying them. She wonders, sometimes, whether that is still the gods' work or whether it has become her own, whether the eagle and the fire were ever signs at all, or whether she simply has the kind of eye that sees a king in a man, and the kind of nerve to make the rest of the world see it too. She does not answer the question. She is too practical to chase it far. There is a new king to settle, grandchildren to raise, a city to hold steady. But the question is in her now where it was not before. She has discovered something about herself that she cannot undiscover. She can make a king with her hands. Not find one, make one. It is a great deal of power for one pair of eyes. She wonders, once late, whether eyes that can make a king can also be wrong. Whether a maker can make a mistake she cannot see. Raise the wrong thing and not know until it is far too late. She puts that question away too. She has no idea yet that the answer is already in the house. Small. A granddaughter not yet grown. A girl who will not need any eagle or any fire. A girl who will take a throne the way Tanaquil takes a thing she has decided on. Except that the girl will do it with a chariot. Her own father's body, and no story afterward that anyone can call beautiful. 7. The measure of men. Here is the strange thing about the king the city did not elect. He turns out to be the one who cares most about counting. Servius Tullius takes a throne that was never voted to him. His crown rests on a fire and a lie at a window. No show of hands ever made him king. He knows this. He carries it. And so he does a thing that no king before him has bothered to do. He makes Rome countable. He orders a census. Sounds dull. It is not dull. It is one of the most important things anyone ever does to Rome. The city feels its weight for the next 1,000 years. Before Servius, Rome is a crowd. A big rough crowd, growing fast, taking in anyone who comes. No one knows how many Romans there are. No one knows who owns what. No one knows, if the city had to raise an army tomorrow, how many men it could field, or who they are, or what each could bring. Servius decides to know. He has every citizen come forward and be counted. Every man states his name, his family, his age, what he owns, the land, the cattle, the bronze, all of it declared and written down. For the first time, Rome has a list of itself, a record of every free man in it and what he is worth. Think about what that does. A crowd cannot be governed. A list can. A crowd cannot be taxed fairly, or called up fairly, or judged fairly, because no one knows who is in it. A list can. Servius takes a city that did not know its own size and he gives it a number. He turns a mob into a people that can see itself. Then he does the harder thing. He sorts the list. He divides the citizens by what they own, into classes. The men with the most property at the top. The men with less below them. The men with little below that. All the way down to the men with almost nothing. This is not gentle. It is honest, which is different. Servius does not pretend all men are the same. He looks at what each man has and he puts him where his property puts him. The rich in the first class, the poor in the last. Then he ties the classes to two things. This is where the genius shows, the cold, clear genius of a man who thinks in lists. He ties them to the army. Each class owes the city service according to what it has. The top class, the men with the most to protect, arm themselves fully and stand in the front. They have the most, so they risk the most. Down the classes, the burden lightens. The poorest owe the least because they have the least, and a man cannot armor himself out of nothing. It is fair in its way. It is also a leash. The whole city is now organized for war by wealth. In groups Servius calls centuries. Each century a block of men who muster and fight together. Rome can now raise its army the way a man pulls a tool off a wall. Quickly. Exactly. He knows how many he has and where they are because he counted them. Then he ties the same classes to the vote. This is the part the poor never quite forgive, and the part the rich never quite admit they love. When Rome votes in the new way in these centuries, it does not vote man by man. Not one head, one voice. It votes century by century, and the classes do not have equal numbers of centuries. The top class, the richest, the fewest men, holds the most centuries. The bottom, the poorest, the most men, holds almost none. So a handful of rich men, voting in their many small centuries, can outweigh everyone below. The whole vast crowd of the poor. The rich vote first, and often the matter is decided before the poor are even called. It is a system that counts everyone and weighs them unequally. Everyone gets a place in the list. Not everyone gets the same place. The man with much gets much say. The man with little gets little. Servius builds it on purpose with his eyes open. Rome keeps it in one shape or another for the rest of its life. Now stop and look at who is building this. A man who was once not on any list at all. Servius was born a servant's son. Born to a captive woman, with the status of nothing, in the corner of another man's house. There was a time when no one would have counted him. He was not a citizen. He was not property even, not quite, but close to it. He was below the line, uncounted, the kind of person a census looks straight through. And now that man is the one holding the stylus over the whole city. Now he is the one who decides who gets counted and where. The unmeasured man has become the measurer of everything. That is not an accident. It is the deepest thing in him. A man who has been uncounted knows, in his body, what it is to be invisible to the powerful, to be a number no one bothered to write down. So when Servius makes his list, he makes sure of one thing above all. Everyone is on it, even the poorest. Even the man with almost nothing gets a name in the record, a century of his own, however small, however far down. No one is left off. No one is invisible the way the boy in the kitchen was invisible. He cannot give the poor man a rich man's weight. He will not pretend the city is equal when it is not. But he can make sure the poor man exists on paper in the eyes of Rome. He can make sure the city knows he is there. For a man who came from nowhere, that is not a small mercy. It is the mercy he most wishes someone had shown him. And there is the other thing under it. The private thing. Servius is obsessed with counting because he himself was never properly counted onto the throne. He knows it. No one had to tell him. His whole reign rests on a thing that was never weighed in the open. Never put to the show of hands. Never made lawful in the way Rome makes things lawful. A fire. A window. A woman's word. He took the throne in the dark. He kept it by acting like a king. Until the city forgot to ask. A man like that, carrying a thing like that, spends his life on order. He makes everything around him as counted and as lawful as he can. Because the one thing at the center, the throne itself, never was. He cannot fix the crooked thing at his own center. So he straightens everything else. He counts every man in Rome with a care that borders on hunger. Because somewhere in him is a man who was never counted. A man sitting on a chair he was never voted into. He is trying to build a city so well measured that no one will look too hard. Too hard at the one measurement that was skipped. The people do not see this. The people only see a good king who cares about them. And they are not wrong. He is a good king. He cares about them more than the well-born kings before him ever did. Precisely because he was not well-born. The poor love him. The crowd at the bottom of the list loves him most of all. The crowd he made sure to write down. He gives them more than the list. He gives the poor land. He settles them. He takes the men with nothing and gives them something to own, which moves them up his own classes. It is a strange and generous thing for the man at the top to do, to lift people toward his own level. The well-born watch this and their faces go careful. The way the old family's faces always go careful when a king helps the men below them. Rome grows orderly under him, knowable, strong in the new measured way. The army musters faster. The treasury knows its own size. The vote, however weighted, runs by a rule instead of by a riot. And Servius, the uncounted man, stands at the center of all of it, the great counter, the measurer of Rome. He has built a machine for knowing exactly how much everything is worth. He has not yet turned it on the people closest to him. He has not yet measured his own 2 daughters, or the 2 men they married, or what is growing in the house under his roof while he counts the city. If he had measured them the way he measures everything else, he might have seen it coming. But a man does not census his own children. He counts strangers. He trusts his blood. That is the one place his great machine does not reach. And that is exactly where the danger is. 8. The wall. A king who counts a city soon wants to put a wall around it. It is the same instinct. You measure a thing and then you want to keep it. Servius has measured Rome. Now he draws a line around the whole of it and builds. The wall he builds is huge. It is the first wall to go around all of Rome. Every hill. The whole grown sprawling city that has outrun its old defenses. He takes in the hills that were always half outside before. He pulls the loose growing edges of the city inside one line of stone and earth. Where the ground is soft he throws up a great bank. An earthwork wide enough to fight on top of, with a ditch before it. Where the ground is hard he sets stone. When it is done, Rome has a shape, a hard edge, an inside and an outside drawn by one man's decision. The way the census drew an inside and an outside in the list of who counts. The wall and the census are the same act in 2 materials. Both of them say the same thing. Here is Rome. This much. These people. No more guessing. The wall will carry his name for centuries. Long after a bigger Rome bursts past it, men will still call it the Servian Wall. still point to the old earth bank and still know whose city it first enclosed. Then he reaches outward. This is the cleverer thing and the quieter one. Rome is not the only Latin city. There are others scattered through the country around. Cities that share Rome's blood, Rome's gods, Rome's language. Cities that have spent generations fighting Rome over cattle and land. Servius does not try to conquer them all. He is not Tullius. He does something subtler. He builds them a temple. On the Aventine, one of his newly walled hills, he raises a temple to Diana. And he makes it a shared temple. A holy place not for Rome alone but for all the Latin peoples together. Common ground. A place where the cities of the Latin name can come and worship the same goddess on the same hill. Sounds like piety. It is strategy wearing the clothes of piety. Whoever holds the common temple is the head of the common worship. Whoever is the head of the common worship is quietly the head of the common peoples. Servius builds a temple that all the Latins share on a Roman hill. By doing it, he makes Rome the center of them all without fighting a single battle. The other cities come to worship and they leave a little more Roman than they came. That is how Servius conquers. With a roof, not a sword. There is a festival on the Aventine now every year for all the Latin name. The cities send their people up the hill to the Temple of Diana. They come from the small towns scattered through the country. The old half-rivals. The cattle raiders of 100 years of border quarrels. They climb the same hill. They stand at the same altar. They watch the same goddess receive the same smoke. And for a few days a year they are not separate cities at all. They are one people worshipping together on a Roman hill by a Roman king's design. It does something to a people to worship together. It makes a we where there was none. The man from the far town and the man from Rome stand shoulder to shoulder at the altar. And they find, almost without noticing, that they are the same kind of man. That is what Servius is building under the smoke and the prayers. Not a temple, a feeling, a slow, quiet sense, spreading through the Latin country, that the center of things is here, on this hill, in this city, where the great shared altar stands. Rome will cache that feeling for centuries. Long after Servius's dust, the cities of the Latins will look to Rome as the head of them. Most of them will never quite remember why. The reason will be a temple on a hill, a temple a slave woman's son put there on purpose. At his height, he is the most successful king Rome has had. More land, more people, a wall around all of it, a league of cities looking to Rome as their center, and the love of the common people, the men at the bottom of his list. They never had a king who counted them before. They will never forget the one who did. By every measure that can be written down, Servius Tullius has won. And he cannot sleep. There is the thing that no list shows. The king who measures everything lies awake at night. He measures the one thing he can never make come out right. His crown is not lawful. He knows it the way you know a stone in your shoe. He can build a wall around the whole city, and he cannot build one around that single fact. He came to the throne over a dead man's body, by a woman's lie at a window, with no vote, no show of hands, none of the things that make a king in the eyes of Rome. He has ruled long and well. The city loves him, but love is not law. Servius, of all men, knows the difference between the thing that is true and the thing that is merely felt. And there is a line of men who know it too, who have always known it, who have been waiting, the way the sons of Ancus waited, the way the wronged always wait. The line of Tarquinius, the old king, the builder, the eagle's man, had heirs. By blood, the throne should have run down through his line. Instead it jumped sideways into the lap of the servant's son, by the trick at the window. The grandsons of old Tarquinius grew up knowing this, knowing that the man on the throne is not of their blood. knowing that by every rule of inheritance, the crown that Servius wears was supposed to be theirs. It is the exact shape of the wound the sons of Ancus carried. A throne that should have come down by blood, taken sideways by a clever outsider. History in this house does not repeat. It just keeps using the same wound. Servius is too wise not to see it. So he does the thing wise kings do with a rival line. He does not kill them. He marries them. He has 2 daughters. The grandsons of old Tarquinius are 2 young men, brothers of the rival blood. The plan writes itself. Bind the lines together. Give a daughter to each of the rival princes. Make the men who might one day take his throne into his own sons-in-law instead. Make the next generation half his blood and half theirs, so that when the throne passes, it passes to grandchildren who belong to both lines. The old wound finally closes. It is a good plan. On paper, in the list, it balances perfectly. 2 daughters, 2 princes, 2 marriages, the rival line absorbed, the wound sealed, the future secured. Servius is the best counter Rome has ever had. And here, with his own children, he makes the one mistake a counter makes. He counts the pieces. He does not weigh the souls. He looks at 2 daughters and sees 2 daughters. He looks at 2 princes and sees 2 princes. He pairs them to balance the way he would balance anything, the way he balanced the classes and the centuries. He does not look hard enough at what is inside them. The 4 young people he is about to bind together. If he had looked, he would have seen that they are not 4 matched pieces at all. They are 2 mild ones and 2 fierce ones. And he is about to pair them crosswise. Fierce with mild. Mild with fierce. He thinks the tempers will cancel and make 2 steady marriages. They will not cancel. The mild will not soften the fierce. The fierce will find the fierce across the marriages, the way fire finds fire across a gap. And the 2 soft ones, the 2 he paired wrong, will be the first to die for his mistake. He does not see it. He is a good man and a great king, and he trusts his blood, the way a good man does. He arranges the marriages. He congratulates himself on the balance of it. He goes back to his wall and his temple and his lists, satisfied that he has sealed the one wound that could threaten the future. He has not sealed it. He has lit it. Somewhere in his house, the fiercest of his daughters is taking the measure of the fiercest of the Tarquin princes. Not the one she is married to, the other one, her sister's husband. She likes what she counts. She is her grandfather Servius's true heir in this one thing, though it will destroy him. She knows how to look at a person and see exactly what they are worth, exactly what they could be used for. She has been doing that arithmetic on the men around her since she was a girl. It is about to come out. 9, 2 daughters. Servius has 2 daughters. The Romans, with their habit of not bothering to invent enough names, call them both Tullia. One is gentle. One is not. The gentle one is like her father. She has his steadiness, his kindness, his patience. She would have been content to be a king's daughter, then a prince's wife, then an old woman by a fire, to never once reach for a thing that was not handed to her. The other one is not like anyone in the house. She is fierce in a way that has no obvious source. Servius is mild. His wife is mild. And yet here is this daughter, hard and hungry and cold. She looks at the world the way her father looks at a census, except that what she counts is not property. She counts power. She has counted it since she was a girl. She looks at every person she meets and works it out, fast and without feeling, what they are worth, what they could be used for. There are also 2 princes, the grandsons of old Tarquinius, brothers, and they too come in the 2 kinds. One is gentle. His name is Aaron's. He is mild the way the gentle Tullia is mild. Content, unhungry, a man who would have been happy with a quiet life. The other is fierce. His name is Lucius. He has his grandfather's hardness without his grandfather's patience. He carries the family's grievance like a coal, the way the sons of Ancus once carried theirs. The throne was his grandfather's. By blood it should be his. A slave woman's son sits in it instead. Lucius has grown up on that the way you grow up on bad water. It has made him what he is. Now look at how Servius pairs them. He pairs to balance. He gives the fierce daughter to the mild prince, and the mild daughter to the fierce prince. Fire with water on each side. He thinks the mildness will cool the fierceness. He thinks each marriage will come out somewhere in the middle, two steady households, the rival blood safely folded in. It is exactly the wrong move, and he cannot see it because he is counting and not weighing. What happens is the thing that always happens. You put fire next to water and expect a warm bath. The fire is not cooled. The fire is enraged. The fierce daughter, married to the mild errands, looks at her gentle husband across the table every day, and despises him. He is everything she is not. He is content. He does not want. To a woman who is nothing but want, a man who does not want is not a comfort. He is an insult. He is a wasted marriage. She lies beside a man who could have a claim on a throne and has no fire to chase it. It is like being chained to a sleeping animal. And across the way, the fierce Prince Lucius is having the same morning, in the mirror image. He is married to the gentle Tullia. She is kind. She is patient. She would be glad to grow old quietly. And Lucius, who burns, looks at his gentle wife and feels the same contempt. The same contempt the fierce Tullia feels for her gentle errands. So the two fierce ones find each other. Of course they do. It is the most natural thing in the world. The fierce daughter and the fierce prince, each chained to a mild spouse, each burning, each looking across the family table and seeing the other. The one person made of the same hot metal. They recognize each other. It is not love exactly. It is more dangerous than love. It is recognition. Each looks at the other and sees, at last, someone worth their full attention. The fierce Tullia goes to the fierce Lucius. She does not waste time. She is not a woman who waits to be courted. She speaks to him plainly, the way she does everything. We are wasted, she tells him. Both of us. You, married to a soft girl who would let you die a prince. Me, married to your soft brother who would let me die a prince's wife. We were each given the wrong half of the family. The gods or my father made a mistake. We should fix it. Lucius listens. He has never heard a woman talk like this. Most people, when they want a terrible thing, dress it up. She does not dress it up. She lays it on the table like a butcher laying out a cut. Here is what we are. Here is what is in our way. Here is what we do about it. What is in their way is two mild people. A gentle sister. A gentle brother. The wrong spouses. The soft ones. They are removed. That is the cleanest way to say it, and the way the story tends to say it. Because the story does not want to look at it too closely either. The gentle Tullia dies. The gentle Aarons dies. Closed together. In a house where the fierce two had every access and every reason. No one writes down the how. No one needs to. A soft thing in the path of two hard ones does not last long. Rome, telling this story to itself afterward, lets the two deaths sit in a single quiet sentence. It does not pry the sentence open. Some doors the city decides not to look behind. This is one of them. The two mild ones are gone. The path is clear. And the fierce Tullia and the fierce Lucius marry. It should be a scandal that ends them. A man and a woman, each lately widowed of the other's sibling. Both widowed at a convenient moment, marrying with the bodies barely cold. The old king, her father, is sick at heart over it. Everyone can do the arithmetic. Everyone can see the shape of what must have happened. And nothing happens to them. That is the chilling part. They are too high, too bold, too plainly without shame. The city looks at the thing it can see clearly and decides. The way cities do, to call it something else or to call it nothing and to look away. The two of them simply go on. Married. Fierce. Together at last. The right metal joined to the right metal at last. Now the wheel begins to turn, and it is Tullia who turns it. Because Lucius, fierce as he is still only a prince. He has the grievance and the hardness and the claim. What he does not quite have on his own is the final nerve. He hates the old king. He believes the throne is his. But Servius is loved, and Servius is settled. To move against a loved and settled king takes a particular kind of madness. A madness that even Lucius, left alone, might never quite reach. Tullia reaches it for him. She works on him the way water works on stone. Every day, she will not let him rest in being a prince. She taunts him with it. So you are content, she says, to be the son-in-law of a slave's son? Content to wait and bow and inherit nothing, while a servant's grandson keeps the chair your grandfather built. My grandfather Tarquinius came down off a hill a foreigner. He made himself king of this city by his own nerve. And you, his blood, sit in a corner and call patience a virtue. If I had wanted a patient man, I would have kept the one I had. I did not keep him. That last part is the knife. She reminds him, again and again, that she chose him over the mild brother, that she did the terrible thing to be with the fierce man, and that if the fierce man turns out to be just another patient prince, then she did it for nothing. Married a coward dressed as a wolf. No man can hear that from his wife forever and stay still. She knows it. She is counting him the way her father counts a city. She has measured exactly how much shame a proud man can take before he moves. She pours that exact amount over him every day, until he is ready to do the thing she has wanted from the start. She wants the throne. She has wanted it her whole life. She cannot take it herself, not in Rome, not as a woman. So she has found a man with a claim and a hard enough heart. She is forging him into the weapon that will get it for her. He thinks it is his ambition. A good part of it is hers, poured into him so steadily that he can no longer tell the difference. Here is the thing about this family and its women. Tanaquil, the grandmother of the Tarquin line, read an eagle and made a king. She read a fire and made another. She made kings by looking at the sky and seeing what was already written there. Tullia is the granddaughter of that line by marriage, the daughter of the man Tanaquil's omen made. And Tullia makes a king too, but she does not read the sky. There is no eagle for her, no fire, no sign. She does not wait for the gods to write anything. She writes it herself on her own husband, in contempt and challenge, night after night, until the man is what she needs him to be. 2 women, 2 kings made. The first one read the heavens and was gentle about it. The second one reads only the man in front of her, and is not gentle at all. And the king that Tullia is making will be made out of a body. The body of the king that the first woman made. The wheel is turning. Lucius is almost ready. He has stopped sleeping. He has started counting the men in the Senate who hate the old king as much as he does. The well-born ones. The ones who never forgave a slave's son for sitting above them. The ones who never forgave him for lifting the poor toward their level. There are enough of them. The old king does not know any of this. He is on his wall. He is at his temple. He is in his lists. He is an old man now, the best king Rome has had, beloved by the people he counted, asleep at night behind a wall he built himself. He does not know the most dangerous arithmetic in Rome is being done at his own table, by his own daughter, every single night. She has counted everything. She is only waiting now for the day. 10. The steps. The day comes the way these days always come. Not with a sign, with a decision. Lucius decides the city is ready. The old king is old. The well-born are restless. The wife at his ear has poured the last of the shame over him that he can hold. He has counted the senators who hate Servius, and the count is enough. There is no eagle, no flame, no goddess by a spring. There is only a hard man who has decided that today is the day, because his wife has made the cost of waiting one more day higher than the cost of acting. He arms himself. He gathers a band of men around him. And he does the thing his grandfather did, the thing that runs in this family like a fever. He simply takes it. He goes down to the forum. He goes to the Senate house. And he sits himself in the king's chair, the curule chair, the ivory one with the curved legs, the one old Tarquinius brought down from Etruria. The chair Servius has sat in for 40 years and more. Lucius sits in it and sends out the call. Come, he says, come to King Tarquin. It is a stunning thing to say. There is a king already. The king is Servius, and Servius is alive. Servius is somewhere in the city right now, an old man at his work. And here is the grandson of the dead king, sitting in the chair, calling himself king, summoning the Senate as if the throne were already his. The senators come. Some come out of fear, because a man sitting in the king's chair, with armed men around him, is not a man you keep waiting. Some come out of hope, because they have wanted this for years. The well-born ones, the ones who never swallowed a slave's son ruling over them. They file into the Senate house and they find Lucius in the chair. The room is already in that single image half his. Then he speaks. It is a speech built to wound, and it is built well. He has his grandfather's gift for it, turned to a darker use. He stands and he tells the Senate who Servius really is. A slave, he says, the son of a slave woman, born at the bottom of a house, named for a servant, raised above his station by a soft old king and a meddling old queen. And how did he come to the throne? Not the way a king comes to a throne, by no vote, by no show of hands, by no auspices, no birds, no blessing of the gods asked or given. He came to it by a woman's trick, by Tanaquil at a window, lying to a frightened crowd in the dark while the true king lay dead below. He was never made king. He was smuggled into the chair while no one was looking, and he has squatted in it ever since. And what has he done with it, Lucius asks. He has betrayed you. You, the fathers of the city, the well-born, the old blood. He has courted the rabble against you. He has taken land from those who had it and handed it down to those who had none. He has built his census to weigh you and tax you, to grind you under the mob he counts and flatters. He calls it order. It is theft dressed as order. By a thief who was never anything but a thief. From a family of nothing. It is poison, and it is poured with skill, and the room drinks it. Every well-born grievance of 40 years. Every quiet humiliation of watching a servant's son lifted above them. Every resentment of the land Servius gave the poor. Lucius gathers all of it up. He gives it back to them as righteous anger. By the time he is done, half the room is no longer thinking of Servius as their king. They are thinking of him as the slave who stole their city. Then the old king comes. Word has reached him. The king is in the Senate, they tell him. A king is in the Senate, sitting in your chair, calling himself by your name. Servius does the thing a king does. He comes. Old as he is, he comes fast, in a fury, to the Senate house, to throw this insolent grandson out of his chair and his city. He reaches the doors. He goes in, and there he is, the real king, the counter, the wall builder, the man the people love, standing in the doorway of his own Senate, looking at the younger man sitting in his chair. He finds his voice. By what right, he demands. By what right do you sit in my chair and summon my senate while I live? He is the lawful king, near enough by long use if not by the proper forms. For one moment the old authority is in his voice. The room wavers. The way a room wavers between two men when it has not yet decided which one to be afraid of. Lucius does not let it waver long. He is younger. He is stronger. And he has decided that this is a thing the body settles, not the voice. He comes out of the chair. He crosses the floor. And before the old king can gather the room back to himself, Lucius takes him. He seizes Servius around the body. The old man caught, struggling, an old man's strength against a young man's, no contest. Lucius lifts him. He carries the king of Rome up off his feet, across the Senate house, to the doors, to the top of the steps, and he throws him down the steps of the Senate house. The old king goes down them the way a struck thing goes down. Loose, helpless, an old body meeting stone again and again all the way to the bottom. He lands in the open, dazed, bleeding from the fall. The king of Rome, 40 years and more on the throne. The man who counted every citizen and walled the whole city, lying at the foot of the steps in the dirt, the breath knocked out of him. His crown, whatever a crown is, knocked off him for good. Inside, the Senate does nothing. That is its own kind of verdict. The room that wavered has stopped wavering. No one comes down the steps to help the old king up. No one lifts a hand. They have watched a man thrown down the stairs of their own house. They sit in their seats and let it happen, because Lucius has spent the last hour teaching them to see the thing on the ground not as their king, but as a slave who stole their city. You do not help a thief up off the ground. Servius gets to his feet. Somehow, an old man, beaten, bleeding, abandoned. His attendants have melted away. The men who walked behind him with the rods and the axe an hour ago are gone, because attendants serve the chair, and the chair has just changed owners in front of their eyes. He is alone. He is the most powerful man in Rome, and there is not one person beside him. He does the only thing left. He turns toward home. He goes up the street, on foot, alone, bleeding, an old king in a torn robe trying to get back to his own house. The way a hurt animal turns for its den. Maybe he thinks he can rally something there. Maybe he is not thinking at all, only moving, only homeward, the oldest instinct there is. Behind him, in the Senate house, the new king is already king. The room is his. The city, by morning, will be his. There is only one piece of business left. One loose thing still moving through the streets. One old man in a bloody robe, stumbling homeward. Until he stops breathing, he is still the king of Rome. Lucius sees the loose end. He does not chase it himself. A king does not run down old men in the street with his own hands. He sends others. He sends men after Servius up the street to finish the thing the steps did not quite finish. And there is one more person in the city who has heard the news. Someone already moving. Someone not going to wait quietly at home for word. His daughter. Tullia has heard that her husband sits in the chair, that the thing she has built him for is done, and she cannot stay in the house. She has waited her whole life for this exact morning. She is not going to receive it secondhand, from a messenger like a woman. She calls for her carriage. She is going to the forum. She is going to be the first to hail her husband as King of Rome, in front of everyone, in the open, in daylight. She does not know yet which street her father is dying in. She is about to find out. 11. The street of crime. The men catch the old king before he reaches his door. He is close. That is the small cruelty of it. He has dragged himself most of the way home, up the street, bleeding, alone, an old man going to ground. He can probably see his own roof. And there, in the open street, almost within sight of home, Lucius's men come up behind him. They do not make a ceremony of it. Why would they? He is not a king to them anymore. He is the last loose end of a morning's work. A thing the steps started and someone has to finish. They finish it. In the street. In the dirt. The best king Rome has had. The man who counted every citizen and walled the whole city. The man who gave the poor their land. Killed in the road like a runaway, a few steps from his own door, by men whose names no one bothers to write down. Then they leave him there. That is the part to hold on to. They do not carry the body away. They do not cover it. They leave the old king lying in the open street, in the dirt and the blood, because there is no one left who is afraid enough of him to treat him with care. There is somewhere they need to be. The body lies in the street. Meanwhile, down in the forum, his daughter is having her mourning. Tullia has come in her carriage. She has heard her husband sits in the chair, that the Senate is his, that the thing she built him to do is done, and she will not wait at home for confirmation. She rides down into the forum, into the crush and the noise, a woman in a carriage in the middle of a coup. It is itself a scandal, a woman pushing into the place where men decide things. She finds her husband. She calls him out. And in front of everyone, in the open, in daylight, she hails him as king. The first voice to do it. She salutes Lucius Tarquinius as king of Rome. Loud, glad, in the middle of the forum. Her father's body not yet cold in a street nearby. Even Lucius is taken aback. That is worth noticing. The fierce man, the one who threw an old king down the steps an hour ago, looks at his wife. She is saluting him in the middle of the riot, and for a moment he is unsettled by her. There is something in her gladness that is too much even for him. He tells her to go home. This is no place for a woman, he says, in the noise and the danger. Go home. It is the only decent instinct anyone shows all day, and it comes from the worst man in the story. It is half decency and half fear of his own wife. He sends her out of the forum. Go home. So she goes home. She turns the carriage and she drives back up out of the forum, toward the house, through the streets. The way she came, and the way home runs up a narrow climbing street. The one that goes up the slope toward the better houses. The street where, an hour before, some men finished a piece of business, and left it lying in the road. The driver sees it first. He is up front with the reins watching the way, and as the carriage comes up the narrow street, he sees, ahead, in the road, a body. A man, old, in a torn robe in the dirt, in a dark spreading stain. He knows the way, you know who it is. He pulls up the horses. He stops the carriage. He cannot do anything else. There is a dead king in the road in front of him. He is not going to drive over a dead king. No one would. He hauls back on the reins. The horses stop. The carriage stops. For a moment everything stops. In the narrow street, in front of the body, he turns. He tells the woman in the carriage why he has stopped. He points. Your father, he says, or something like it. Your father is in the road. Now, here is the moment the whole long story has been climbing toward. The eagle on the hill, the fire on the sleeping head, the lie at the window, the census, the wall, the temple, the two daughters, the two princes, the soft ones cleared away, the harangue, the steps, the old man dragging himself homeward. All of it has been a road. The road ends here, in a narrow street, a stopped carriage, a body, a driver looking back over his shoulder at a woman, waiting for her to tell him to turn around. She does not tell him to turn around. She tells him to drive on, over it. The driver does not understand at first. No sane person would understand. He has stopped because a father is in the road. He is waiting to be told to go around, to go back, to find another way. Anything. And the woman in the carriage is telling him to do the one thing that is not a thing. The thing that has no name, because no one ever needed a name for it. Drive on. Over the body. Over my father. He balks. The story says he balks, that he is horrified, that he holds the horses. And it says that she does not, that she seizes the reins herself, or strikes him, or screams the order. The accounts differ on the exact mechanics, and it does not matter. What matters is that she makes it happen. The carriage goes forward, the horses go forward, and the wheels go over the body of Servius Tullius, the king of Rome, the man who lifted her family, the man whose blood she carries, lying in the road where his murderers left him. The wheels come away red. She is spattered with it. The carriage is spattered with it. Her father's blood, on the wheels, on the rail, on her. She does not stop. She does not look down. She drives on, up the street, home, carrying her father's blood on the carriage and on herself. The story says, the worst detail of all, that she carried that blood into her own house, to the household gods, the little gods of the family that stand on their shelf, the gods who watch over the blood of the line. She brought her father's blood home to the gods of the family. There is no reading of the sky that covers this. Tanaquil read an eagle and made a king, gently, looking up. Tanaquil read a fire and made a king, carefully, looking at a child. Her granddaughter by marriage makes a king too, the last one, the worst one. She does it looking down at a body in the road and telling a driver to go on. Both women turned the wheel of this family. One turned it with her eyes on the sky. One turned it with a wheel, an actual wheel over an actual body. That is the whole distance the family travels, from the first woman to the last. From reading the heavens to crushing a father in the street. Takes 3 generations. It ends in a narrow climbing road on an ordinary morning. The street keeps the day. That is the thing that lasts, when all the kings are dust. Not the wall, though the wall lasts. Not the census, though Rome counts itself forever after. The thing the city cannot forget, the thing it fixes to the very stones, is this. The Romans named the street. They called it the Vicus Celeratus, the street of crime, the wicked street, and they kept the name. For 500 years and more, Romans walked up that climbing street to the better houses. They knew, every one of them, what had happened there. A daughter drove over her father. The street remembered when everyone who saw it was dust. The name was the memory. The city could not punish her in the end. She was the queen now, so it did the only thing it could. It wrote her crime into the map of itself, into the name of a street, where it would outlast her, her husband, and the whole proud, cruel reign they were about to begin. Because that is what begins now on the bloody wheels coming up out of that street. The reign of Lucius Tarquinius, the last king of Rome. History will not call him by the elder's name his grandfather wore. It will call him something else. Superbus, the proud, the arrogant, the king who took the throne with no vote and no auspices, over a father-in-law's body, with a wife spattered in her own father's blood, riding home to the family gods. He will rule by fear because he has nothing else to rule by. No election made him. No omen blessed him. No love holds him up. He has only the fear, and the fear works for a while the way fear always works for a while. Then it stops working, as it always eventually does. But that is the next part of the story. For now there is only the street, going quiet again after the carriage has passed. The body, the stain drying on the stones. The slow understanding moving through the city of what kind of king it has just gotten and how. And up the hill, in a house, a woman is washing her father's blood off her hands, setting it, the story says, before the gods of her family, as though it were an offering. The gods do not say anything. They have a long memory, the gods. Longer than a street's. They will wait. They are good at waiting. The wheel will come around again. It always does. The family that lived by turning it will, in the end, be broken on it. But not today. Today the wheel belongs to Tullia, and it is red and it is rolling. There is no one left in Rome with the nerve to stand in front of it. 12. What the street remembers. The morning after is always quieter than you expect. A city wakes up the day after a king is murdered in the street. The day after a daughter drives over the body. The strange thing is how ordinary the morning looks. The bread is still baked. The animals are still fed. The river still does the one thing it always does. A city does not stop for a horror. It absorbs it the way ground absorbs blood. Goes on looking much the same on the surface while underneath everything has changed. Rome has a new king. It did not choose him. No hands went up. No birds were red. He took the chair and threw the old man down the steps, and the old man died in the road. That now is how a king is made in Rome. By the strongest hand and the coldest heart. The eagle and the fire and the lie at the window were ugly enough. This is something past ugly. This is naked. Lucius is king. History will give him the only name that fits. Superbus. The proud. He understands his own position perfectly. That is the one thing you can say for him. He knows exactly what he is. He knows he has no vote behind him, no omen, no love. He knows the people loved the man he killed. He knows the well-born who cheered his speech in the Senate will turn on him the moment he looks weak. Because men who will betray one king for you will betray you for the next. He has nothing holding him up except the thing he used to climb. Fear. So he rules by fear because it is all he has. He does not call the Senate to take its counsel. He does not need its counsel. He decides alone in his own house with his own few men. The Senate learns what he has decided when he tells it. He puts to death the senators he distrusts, the ones who were closest to Servius, the ones who might gather the old king's friends around them. He does not replace them. He lets the Senate shrink. A smaller Senate is a quieter Senate. A frightened one is quieter still. He surrounds himself with a guard, always. Because a man who took a throne by murder knows better than anyone how a throne is taken. He sleeps behind locked doors. He trusts almost no one. He has made himself the most powerful man in Rome. And the most alone. Very often the same thing in this story told over and over. And he does not bury Servius. That is the detail that tells you the rest. The old king lies dead. And the new king, his son-in-law, does not give him the rites. No funeral, no proper burial. The man who counted every Roman, who walled the whole city, who gave the poor their land. He is left without the honors that even a common man gets. It is said his wife saw to that as much as his killer did. Tullia did not want her father mourned. A mourned king is a king the people remember kindly. She had not driven over him to let him be remembered kindly. So the best King Rome had goes into the dark without the rites. The people who loved him are not allowed to grieve him in the open. That more than the murder, more than the wheel, is the thing that settles into the city like a stone. You may not even mourn him. That is what the new reign is. Not only will it kill what you love, it will forbid you to weep. Now step back from it. Look at the whole shape from the road south to the bloody street. Look at what this family was. It was a family that ran on its women. The men were kings, and some of them were great ones. The eagle's man drained the marsh and laid the rock and made Rome look like Rome. The slave's son counted the city and walled it and loved the poor. They were not nothing, the men, but they did not turn the wheel. At the two ends of the story, the rise and the fall. It is a woman with her hands on the wheel. Tanaquil at one end. She came down off a hill having read an eagle, and she made a foreigner into a king. She read a fire over a sleeping child, and she made a servant into a king. And when her own king lay dead, she stopped reading the sky. She wrote the future herself. Out a window, in a lie, she made two kings with her eyes and her nerve. She turned the wheel forward and up, Tullia at the other end. She read nothing. There were no birds for her, no flames, no goddess by a spring. She looked at a husband and saw a tool. She sharpened him with contempt until he could kill a king. And when the king was killed, she put her own will over his body. She carried his blood home to the gods. She turned the wheel too, forward and down, all the way down. Two women, the same family, the same wheel. One turned it looking up at heaven and one turned it looking down at a corpse. Between them is the whole distance a house can fall in 3 generations. From reading the gods to crushing a father. From the sky to the street. That is the thing the episode is really about, if it is about anything. Not the kings. The kings come and go, eagle to fire to wheel. It is about who actually moves the world in a house like this. It is about the women the lists and the histories tuck into the margins. The kingmaker and the kingkiller. The one who saw signs and the one who made her own. Rome will spend 1,000 years telling itself it is a city of men and fathers and senates. And here, at its very root, in the line that founds its tyranny, the hand on the wheel is a woman's hand, twice, at both the turns that matter. And the street remembers. That is the last thing and the strangest. Of everything in this story, the thing Rome chose to keep, to fix permanently, to write into the very ground. It was not a triumph or a temple. It was a crime, the Vicus Celeratus, the street of crime. For 500 years and more, Romans walked that climbing street. They knew, all of them, what a daughter had done there. The city could not punish her. She was the queen, so it punished her the only way left. It refused to forget. It made the street say her crime, out loud, forever, to everyone who used it. There is a kind of justice in that, slow and stony and patient. The kind of justice a city does when it cannot do the other kind. You cannot touch the guilty, so you make the place itself accuse them, down the centuries, after they are dust. The street outlived Tullia. The street outlived the whole proud reign she founded. The name was still there when the last person who had seen the body was 100 years dead. The name is, in a way, still there now in this telling. It is itself just the street going on remembering. The tyranny is total that first morning. Fear works. The Senate is silent. The poor are cowed. The old king lies unburied and unmourned. There is no one in Rome with the nerve to stand in front of the wheel. It will not last. Cannot. A throne held up by nothing but fear is a throne with a clock running inside it. The clock is loud if you know how to listen. Tarquinius, who knew how to listen, is not here to tell them. Somewhere in the proud king's own house, his sons are growing up, learning that a man takes what he wants, that he fears nothing, that he bows to no God. They are learning it from the best teacher there is. It is a father who did exactly that and got a kingdom for it. They will believe the lesson completely. They will carry it out into the world as if it were simply true. And one of them, one day in another man's house, will do a thing, by another man's wife. The thing that finally turns the wheel back on the family that lived by turning it. For now there is only the quiet morning, the unburied king, the silent senate, the street, going about its business, carrying its terrible new name like a stone in its mouth, and a woman in a high house, who has everything she ever counted and wanted, who will discover, in time, the one thing her arithmetic never accounted for, that a wheel turns both ways. The house she has just won is built on the same ground as the street outside. The same stones, the same blood. She does not know it yet. She is the last one in this family who will not see the wheel coming. Writer's note: I do not read Tanaquil as a woman who saw the future. I think she made it and called it the sky. She looked at a man and decided he was a king. Then she found an eagle to agree with her. She looked at a child and decided he was a king, and then she found a fire to say so. That is not prophecy. That is Will wearing the clothes of prophecy, which is a far more frightening thing. And here is what the omens never told her. The will she started does not stop when she stops. It comes down the years. It changes hands. It ends up, 3 generations on, in a granddaughter who needs no eagle and no fire. She simply looks at a body in the road and decides. The first woman read the gods. The last one stopped asking them anything at all. I do not think the gods minded the reading. I think it was the second woman, the one who never looked up, who finally got their attention. Next time, a lamp in a loyal house, late at night. A knife that does not belong to the woman holding it. The last king of Rome, and the night his family's luck finally runs out.